What's up YouTube? It is Mr. Charlie Black coming at you from my channel again. This video is actually going to be a response to one of my videos about gun ownership that you can find on the channel, of course. This is from Ourmanthejoker, who was nice enough to post a clip in an article for me about instances in which the government has controlled gun ownership and it has caused more chaos throughout the communities that we live in, and he would like to know my stance on it. I definitely, it was interesting reading about how people were being stripped of their weapons during Hurricane Katrina. And I can only wonder exactly what's going to happen. Where does that leave people when they are muddied through the water, so to speak, and they are attacked by people who don't have as good of intentions? And I hear people all the time say that there's nothing wrong with gun owners. In areas where you have more relaxed gun ownership laws, that there is less gun violence. And that's a fine statistic to look at and agree with. I mean, the numbers obviously don't lie, but they don't always tell the full account for the story. I think that gun ownership laws are reactionary to a situation, a circumstance in which gun violence is all too common. And reading about how the deaths among black men that resulted by the way of gun violence have increased from 2007 to 2008, I can't help but wonder what people have to say to answer those questions. In a lot of the areas where there are stricter gun laws, there is a call for that because there's too much violence. I studied places like New York and LA where the gun violence and the deaths by the way of the gun have increased, all the way to looking at a city like Milwaukee where it's essentially been cut in half. And I think that the key components are not only education about guns, but also making sure that you have some accountability for them. Lawful gun owners don't commit crimes. That is correct in itself, because lawful gun owners follow the law, use the gun when properly. But the issue that I draw with it is that people don't realize how easily a lawful gun owner can become a criminal. There's so many instances, even here recently when I was looking at the news, the national news, in which people have used guns. People who are lawful gun owners have irresponsibly kept guns in their home so that they're easily accessed by their children. And in the instance where just recently a 4-year-old child was at home with his babysitter, and the babysitter stepped on his foot, and the 4-year-old got really, really mad, ran to his parents' closet, pulled out a gun, and shot his babysitter. That to me doesn't make sense. Reading about the man who was in the movie theater and was disrupted by a family making too much noise, pulled out a gun and shot a man to death. That to me also doesn't make any sense. There was another story, and by the way, all these stories I'm going to put links in my description so that you can go and actually read about them, where a 16-year-old boy got angry at his parents for withholding his Xbox. He went into a secret box his parents had, took the gun, and shot his parents to death. There was another man out of New Orleans just recently who did not want to pay child support for his kid. Got a gun, killed his child. Now, this is not saying, okay, these people that are the registered gun owners have taken violence into their own hands, with the exception of the guy at the movie theater, have taken the guns into their own hands and used them as weapons. What it's saying is that there is irresponsibility, and it happens every day. When you have a place like Chicago, where they have about 40 plus, South Side Chicago has 40 plus killings a month. That's just what you expect. There has to be something that can be done about this so that people do feel safe. Yes, lawful gun owners are not always taking guns, and using them as weapons against each other. They do. It happens all the time, especially with romantic feuds, with family feuds of all sorts. That gun that you use for hunting, that you use for anything else, can easily become a weapon to destroy someone's life. Like that. And all it takes is just a mentality change inside someone, where you transform from being a lawful gun owner to a person who is using a gun to assault someone and take their life. Even the police reading an article yesterday, or today rather, I believe it was, about a man out of Oakland, California, who got shot in his back while he was on the ground by a police officer. Man was not causing any problems. They had a video footage of this, and if I can find it, I will show it to you. On the ground, got shot by a man. This man was a father of a 4-year-old child. And what's going to happen? I believe the investigation that they're doing on this situation now is about 4 days old. But what's going to happen? Gun ownership, it's definitely a lot about mentality, as a lot of things are. But how do these guns leave the store and into the hands of criminals? People are smuggling them in because there's no hyper security. And if they can smuggle in guns, even in 2008 or 9, when security is supposed to be heightened due to terrorist attacks, if they can get these guns in here and sell them on the black market, imagine what else is being sold. And imagine who these guns fall into the hands of. To me, it just doesn't make sense. Government has to be there to make sure that situations like this don't necessarily happen. I'm not saying take the guns out of the hands of people who lawfully own them. What I'm saying is tighten the consequences so that people who own these guns have a reason to take better responsibility and better action so that people don't take those guns and do crazy things with them. A kid goes in your security box, and finds your gun and shoots both of his parents because they wouldn't allow him to play his Xbox. All the while, this plan took a few days to unfoil. And all the while, the parents had never really gone to check the gun. That's something that you check every day. Don't hide the gun in a place and don't look back on it until you actually need it for something. That's all that I'm saying. It should be something that people take responsibility for every single day. Because Columbine kids, because gangs grab these weapons and they find them and they use them for all kinds of criminal purposes. If you recognize that your gun is missing and you don't report it, what's going to happen? There should be some kind of tracking system so that people know exactly what's going on. That's why I say it. Just like your vehicle has a vehicle identification number, you need a gun identification number. So that someone knows if you use a rifle, if a weapon is part of evidence that you use to assault someone, it has a tracking number to go right back to the owner. And if the owner has not transferred ownership to the hands of the person that had the gun, if the owner knows the gun went missing and didn't report anything, that person should have some kind of consequences or some kind of punishment that they deserve based on their negligence and irresponsibility. That's what I believe. I think that gun ownership can be done in the sense where people have lawfully owned guns, people only use them in areas of defense or hunting, and people feel free to do so. Because if someone's walking out and trying to cause, harm upon someone, and they're in a place like Texas where everyone carries a gun, your damn UPS driver carries a gun, they might not be as likely to pull that gun if they know that you have one too, and that makes people feel safe. But we should not get to that point. I don't think that we should be at that point. I just don't. It's a mentality change, ladies and gentlemen. Definitely a mentality change. Definitely responsibility on the part of the individual who is carrying the gun and the government for allowing these guns into our neighborhoods. There's involvement on both sides. The gun store owners who are not doing full and thorough background checks before they hand these guns out to people. People have had guns for years and years and have not had any kind of tracking device on them whatsoever. And you want to put a lifelock on a sex offender because they're likely to commit another sex act, but you can't put some kind of tracking device on a gun that can easily take someone's life. I don't know. But YouTubers, let me know what you think. Should be posting more videos soon. Probably take a break for right now. Get something to drink. I'll be back.